What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video from the 10-7 MMA channel. And this is a crazy one because, as I have done numerous times on this channel, I have covered beefs across the board with fighters, with journalists, with all of the above. But now we're going back to one of the most classic and all-time legendary beefs in the world of mixed martial arts. Got very dark at times, still quite dark, and that is with Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor, and it seems to have been reignited, which I will say right off the bat is a little bit strange, and here's why. We just got news that Conor McGregor recently completed a program in Mexico using particular hallucinogens, and the one that was recorded to be used was Ibogaine. Now, I made a whole commentary on this during our show on Monday, but I know about Ibogaine treatment. I've watched a documentary on it years ago, but I do remember that it has amazing benefits in terms of removing a lot of the physical symptoms that come along with withdrawal when you're trying to get off particular substances. It has really great benefits purportedly. Okay, I haven't studied and looked at the research and looked at the numbers, but I saw an incredible documentary that showed people that had severe opioid addictions that would go to these treatment centers in Mexico, undergo this Ibogaine journey. It was a very dark, difficult journey, but when they would come out of it, however many hours later, 12 hours, 24, 48, I can't remember how many hours, but after they come out of the journey, they're relieved of the physical symptoms. You still have the mental demons that you have to deal with, but physically it's like you don't have to go through that horrendous withdrawal process. So anyways, when I heard that Conor went to do the Ibogaine treatment, and I know he mentioned he was dealing with trauma, which I'm sure there was that element as well. Trauma is also deeply linked to substance abuse, but I do think that I don't know if he was on opioids or what the drug withdrawal symptoms that he was trying to avoid, but I took it as a positive sign that he was trying to get a handle on whatever issues are going on, probably some addiction issues, but I looked at it as a positive thing. He's trying to get on the straight and narrow. He's trying to be ready for this card. He also made a great post about being so thankful to, the higher power, to his family, for essentially being reborn. It seemed like we're seeing a new version of Conor. And then to now see Conor go back to the dark side and try to attack Khabib, which I think his attacks are very wrong. And I'm going to explain why in this video as we go through what's being alleged or what Conor is saying right here. I think that he's definitely in the wrong. He just hasn't done his research. And I want to showcase this clip from Ariel Helwani show. This is actually happening today. So this show is still live going on right now, but I want to highlight their discussion and I want to respond to it because I was listening to them talk about it back and forth, and I think they gave some fair takes, but I also think they kind of maligned Khabib incorrectly just because they don't really know about NFTs, and especially these NFTs that are being now sold and marketed within what's called Telegram, which is a messaging service. So anyways, I'm going to give you guys some clarity. And really, I did my research. I just gave a really good prompt into ChatGPT. I have the premium version. I use the thinking mode. I'm working with the AI specialist. So I'm kind of learning a thing or two about how to use AI very effectively as a research tool. So hopefully I've done some good research and done some reasonable due diligence here that I can share with you guys and give some more color. But my short answer to this entire thing is I think Khabib is totally being unfairly maligned. And it's sad to say that Conor came out of the spiritual journey still wanting to hurt and attack Khabib. You would think that would eventually get let go along this path of righteousness that he's trying to follow. I guess not yet. Maybe one day we'll look forward to that, but not yet. So anyways, without further ado, I'm going to start playing the clip from Ariel, and I'm going to pause throughout and chime in. And then at some point, I remember specifically in their discussions, I think they don't frame this conversation correctly, meaning what an NFT is exactly and how it's being used on Telegram. So at the right time, I'm going to jump over to what I learned from ChatGPT and share it with you guys. All right, without further ado, let's get into it.
A bit of a back and forth this morning, guys, between Conor McGregor and Khabib Nurmagomedov. Shall we look into this? Because it does appear as though the rivalry is igniting, perhaps in anticipation of the big Ireland versus Dagestan rematch. Or is it Dagestan versus Ireland? Who knows? But it is part 2. Okay, so where does it start, guys? It starts...
It's not part 2, but go ahead.
It's part 5, part 4. It starts... Well,
26.
It actually does start... it starts with Khabib... one second. It starts with Khabib doing a promotional thing on his Twitter that we talked about a couple of days ago, where what is it? An emoji,
an NFT
on Telegram.
Yeah.
that is the Khabib's papakha. Here it is. And so you buy it, and now you can use it in your messaging, right?
I'm not sure if you can use it in your messaging or not. It's just a digital collectible, and there was only a certain amount that were for sale, and they sold out very quickly.
And do you know how much they were?
I don't know, but I've seen the USD equivalent of all of them sold together was 4.3 million.
And
Okay, so I haven't been able to verify the 4.3 million, and there were also, I think they'll say later, there were 29,000 sold. So if you do the math, 4.3 million divided by 29,000, it comes out to roughly $148. So let's say $150. So that's how much these NFTs were being sold for. Now, before we move on, I'm just going to go through. I actually asked ChatGPT to kind of explain to me what an NFT is exactly for those of you guys who are unfamiliar, which this is not my area of expertise by any means, but I want to share for you guys how ChatGPT explains what NFT is, and to immediately put it in the bucket of this being a scam or this being some way to extract money in some sort of unfair means, I think is completely the wrong characterization. It's a product. It's something that people willingly purchase, and people know that it's not going to cure cancer. It's not going to be a game to play. It's like a collectible item, like a baseball card or something like that. There's a certain number, and they are actually, you can trade them. So I know they say here that it can only belong to one person, but later on they say for the Telegram one that was created by Khabib, you can actually trade them and sell them and whatnot. So anyways, an NFT is a one-of-a-kind digital collectible whose ownership is tracked on a blockchain. A non-fungible token is a unique digital asset stored in a blockchain that acts as proof of ownership or authenticity for some item, art, video, in-app item, etc. Unlike a Bitcoin where every coin is interchangeable, each NFT has its own ID and history, so you can say this exact one is mine. So the artwork is linked to that token. The chain keeps a public record. You can usually, it does say you can buy or transfer or sell these different NFTs. So it's a product. So owning the NFT is just like owning a signed number digital trading card. That's why I didn't even read that yet, but there's my analogy. And there we go. So anyways, that's what it is. It's not a nothing. You know, you think about in games, you buy like different skins for players. You buy these different digital things that most of them is like, why are you even, right? What was that game where the super popular game? I don't play video games. I can't remember the name of it, the shooting game that people were going crazy over for a while. But you'd have all those different skins or suits that you would buy. It wouldn't give you any special powers, but people just thought it was cool. This kind of reminds me of that, like more of an artwork, a digital artwork. And then it does retain some value and you can trade it. So it's a product. It's a real thing. Anyways, let's go back to the video and continue on with this discussion.
And sold out?
It says
Sold
here
out.
that there was 29,000.
Okay, so according to Sportskeeda MMA, Khabib and Pavel Durov launched 29,000 digital papakhas on Telegram, and they were sold instantly. So it was just 29,000?
Yeah.
That's it? Wow. And the auction brought in over 347 million rubles, $4.3 million from a virtual version of the iconic UFC hat. I don't know if I would call it that, cultural hat that is synonymous with Khabib. And the promotion for it was, let me get this right. See, now I can read the tweets, you know. It says block. My man. Yeah. So first on November 20th, he tweeted, "Brother Durov, I see you always in the gym. I think it's time you come and train with the Brotherhood."
So Durov is, I believe, the founder of Telegram, which it does say, I could be wrong on this, but I believe it did say in the ChatGPT prompt. We'll pull that up later in a second, but that's who he's referring to.
The next tweet was, "In sport and in life, strength comes from constant preparation and hard work that no one sees." Oh no, that's the G42A one. That was another thing. What is that one? G42A AI?
Yeah, I think it's an AI service. He's deleted the
deleted
the OG tweet about the Telegram one. I think the way they're framing it is because the auction has ended.
Yes, because there was like a promotional thing about like the next generation or something like that, or I'll pass this on.
Correct. Yeah.
Like a teaser.
Yeah.
You believe that? You believe that?
Go buy the NFT.
Yeah.
Well, then he made a new post that the auction has.
The auction has ended and all the papakhas have been sold. Appreciate everyone who participated in it and becoming a holder of this green exclusive digital gift with value that you can share with your friends and loved ones. Thank you for trust. Only on Telegram. Again, it's like I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on what the hat represents, but like a gift with value that you could share with your friends. It's an NFT. It's a thing. It's not like someone is gifting this to you. But all right, fine. And okay, now it pops off. Someone writes to Conor McGregor about this. Bro is legit a full-time scam artist.
By the way, I don't think he wrote to Conor. Conor's just responding to this.
Okay. Conor McGregor writes, what a shame and a stain on his father's name. Just
Let's pause before we get into the scam, to this whole tweet on the scam. So again, is this a scam? As I mentioned, an NFT is not a crazy thing that Khabib has come up with or is trying to like steal money from people. I certainly don't buy that. I don't agree with that. And but I'm open to being proven wrong. Okay. But that's not my take on Khabib. He's not the type of person to operate that way. I think he's proven that. He could have easily made hundreds of millions more, I think, if he would have stayed in the UFC. And I'm serious about that. So I don't think that was his motivation. And I don't think he would even care to make money if it compromises morals. This is my take. If people disagree or you can show me good proof otherwise, I'm open to hearing it. But that's my belief as of now. So let's talk about NFTs real quick. Okay. So he's calling it a scam. Okay. It may seem like a scam, just like buying skins on these different shooting games might seem like a scam because they don't provide any value. But then again, think about what sometimes people choose to donate on YouTube channels. That doesn't give you anything. Maybe a user or the streamer might respond to one of your questions, or maybe they just might say thank you. It doesn't give you anything, but people want to do it. They understand what they're getting into. As long as you're not deceiving people and saying that this is going to be a great app for your phone, and then it's just a picture, right? As long as people know what they're getting and it's something that they're happy with, this is a fair trade. This is a fair deal, in my humble opinion. So let's get on to what's going on with Khabib's NFT. So Telegram recently rolled out with collectible gifts. So this is where the NFT is. That can be turned into NFTs on the TON blockchain. Okay, so this is a new feature, just like anything else on any other app. Hey, you might have features, in-app purchases, whatever. So they've been multiple people. This is not just Khabib doing this randomly. Okay, there have been multiple blockchain-backed collectibles, and Khabib's drop is one of the biggest so far. One of the biggest. So there's probably been a bunch of other ones that are just as big, I imagine. The collectibles, Khabib's legendary papakha, which is what they're talking about, the hat. Telegram founder Pavel Durov, this is what I said when he's talking to Durov. He's talking to the founder of Telegram. Promoted it as limited collectibles, symbolizing tradition, freedom, and respect. Khabib framed them as exclusive digital gifts with real-time value that you can share with friends and family in the shape of a papakha representing Dagestani culture. So they are Telegram gifts that also double as NFTs on the TON blockchain. So how they can be used. So you can buy them. So they bid. Oh, so they probably weren't all $148. Like I said, maybe there's a bid. So there's an auction. So some went for higher, lower. I don't know. Early items tended to go for the highest prices. One post notes that one sold for $35,000. Oh my God. Okay. But obviously it averages out to way less, I would imagine. Okay. Then you hold in your Telegram account. It shows up as gifts, collectible sessions. You can resend it as a gift. So you can send it. Or trade it. So it has some value that you can use to trade or sell or whatever. It's different. I think people are conflating this with new cryptocurrencies that inflate up and then go bust, right? And then the way that's a scam, that's also something that's being sold, but the scam there is people know that it doesn't have any legs, but they artificially inflate the value, which people do with stocks as well. It's a crime where you can hype up a stock or an asset and spread the word incorrectly that this thing has tons of value. And then when that public sentiment drives the price up, you then sell. And then when everybody figures out that it was a ruse, the price drops. But you already sold your shares. Same thing happens with these cryptocurrencies. This is not that. This is not like, hey, we're asking you guys to invest in this, at least I don't believe so, drive up the price, then the people who own the original shares like sell, and then when it deflates, they're like, oh, well, we're already out. I don't believe that this is at all what this is. They just created a product, an NFT, and are selling it. That's it. So very different. But that's where I think people are like, it's a scam. It's just an NFT. You just don't understand it. Do a quick search on ChatGPT. It'll tell you everything. Okay. Collectible gifts can be moved to on the blockchain, then auctioned or traded, whatever. Ownership is then fully on chain. The history and resale price become public. Cool. So from utility standpoint, it's Telegram Flex on-chain collectible that you can flip or whatever. Okay, I don't know what HODL means. This is the part that it said it didn't verify, but I saw that Ariel's very careful with the things that he posts. So I'm presuming that Sportskeeda thing, whatever, that was posted there was probably a reputable thing, and the 4.3 million is probably legit. So now here's talking about the controversy. saying that it's scams fans, and he said it's a gift. Okay. Anyways, so there's the gist of what this exactly is. I just want to give you context as we continue the conversation, just so you can have a little bit more clarity on what these guys are saying, what they're getting right, what they're getting wrong, what they probably haven't done due diligence on, and whatnot. All right, here we go.
Wow. To scam fans using his father and his country's culture is just so low. Father's plan has now become father's scam. Very sad. On the opposite side of this, it was great to see Islam Mack honor his own father by putting the double world titles on his shoulders and saying there's not many fathers of double world champions. Truth. I believe there's a response. He continues, there's just no way good guy Khabib used his late father's name as well as Dagestan's culture to scam his fans and fire sell a bunch of digital NFTs online and then delete all the content after they were sold, leaving his fans robbed of their money. There's just no way good guy do this. Now, why would it be viewed as a scam? I don't know if it's necessarily a scam. I think the criticism may be like, oh, you're sort of monetizing this cultural symbolism, but I don't know if anyone thinks it's a scam per se.
So I wanted to talk about this too. He talks about this idea of like monetizing the culture. Maybe that's an incorrect way to use that culture and then make a profit out of it. I totally disagree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong about that. This is his particular, if I'm pronouncing it right, the papakha, that hat that he'd always wear. That hat in itself is iconic. Yes, it's blended in to the Dagestani culture, but it's just something that he's using as a way for fans to connect with Khabib. That's the way that I'm looking at it. It's not like it's his own culture anyways. So what's the harm there? I heard them, and he didn't exactly really like say, hey, this is an incorrect use of their culture and how dare he. So he didn't say that. I got to give Ariel credit there, but I just thought the insinuation that it was potentially an incorrect use of his own culture, I found that a little bit bizarre, because I think Khabib is, from what I'm seeing so far, Khabib has done absolutely nothing wrong.
The deleting of the previous tweets is interesting, but I guess they'll frame it as like, okay, there's no need to keep it up there, but do we really think that that's the reason why they deleted it?
Yeah, I don't know if scam is the appropriate term to capture this.
Maybe what I think he's trying to say is like it's in poor taste, according to him. That's what I think.
And I totally disagree if that's what Conor's saying or if that's what they're even thinking. And they're saying the scam is like not the right word. Dude, a scam is like the opposite end of what this is. This is nothing a scam, in my opinion. This is just a product. There was, I think, full disclosure of what people were getting. There was no misleadings of it. Maybe people have a certain idea of how they will appreciate, and that may not come to fruition, but that's not a scam. That's any product. So I don't even think they should even be talking about it in the nature of a scam. It seems to me, by the way, I'm a novice completely when it comes to crypto and NFTs. Don't get me wrong. I think that little ChatGPT illuminated some things for me, but I don't think it's a scam. It's just something they don't understand. And there's been a lot of instances lately, Haktua, all these different people that have launched cryptocurrencies, and they've risen and busted. And so that's where people just hear this idea of a digital currency, even though this isn't that, it's an NFT, but it's linked to that part of the blockchain. They immediately think it's a scam, but it's not. Just got to ask ChatGPT.
I think he's trying to say, okay, it continues. Khabib Nurmagomedov responds to him, you absolute liar. You will always try to darken my name after you got destroyed that night, but you will never achieve that. Yes, good guys don't do that. They don't create exclusive digital gifts with real-time value that you can share with your friends and family. Gifts in the shape of papakha, hat that symbolizes tradition and culture of Dagestan people, traditions and culture that's slowly walking over this world, whether you like it or not, gifts that you can find exclusively on Telegram, greatest messaging platform on the world. The beginning sounded like he wrote it. The bottom half sounded like he didn't write it, like it became a commercial.
I feel like he just doesn't like Khabib. I could be, am I wrong? Am I right? Am I wrong? Right? Part of the roster of fighters under Ali. I don't know. It just always seems like he's kind of edging one way. To me, it feels like here. I mean, dude, I'll watch Conor's fights. I'll watch Khabib's fights. I'm a fan of both. But like, to me, I feel like Conor's completely in the wrong here. But I don't think Ariel and the crew see it that way. I know they've had Conor on the show before. They've interviewed him. Khabib won't go there. Is that part of the equation? Is that part of the slant? And if so, hey, it's more power to him. It's their show. You know, you want to be cool with the people that are cool with you. I get that. But I just want to give my 2 cents because it feels like slanted in the wrong direction, just in terms of what's true and what's not. But that's my 2 cents.
And then I do believe it continued. My count is 56 former drug addicts at my rehabilitation centers in Dagestan that I treated. Come to Dagestan, Conor McGregor, they'll take care of you here. Mexico didn't help you as far as I can see.
It is really sad, okay? I'm not going to go into my knowledge of these types of psychedelic treatments, but I know about them, okay? Not this one from personal experience, but I know about them. And they are really beautiful experiences. And man, it changes your entire perspective of how we're all connected, what's out there beyond this planet. And it's crazy. It can be mind-blowing, and it can be incredible. It can change your, like I said, the way that you look at other people and look at this planet. And it seemed like he really had a beautiful experience from his original tweets, but then now he's going back to hateful stuff. And this is a feud that ended back like in 2018. I mean, obviously it never really ended, of course, but that's when the fight was. I'm just really, it looks bad to me. Like you're coming away from this spiritual connectivity with everything. I feel you've rid yourself of these maybe like physical demons to some extent. And then now you're going back to this and you're commenting on that. Why? It worries me. It worries me about Conor.
And then here's Conor McGregor saying, and who will I be meeting there? Because it won't be you, LOL. You can't scam me with your lies. You tax-dodging scammer on the run. Your poor family, I pray. I pray for your constant lies. I pray while you lie. You should just be honest because Allah knows all. Oh, dear. Then a bunch of hashtags. And then he posted this has become a new thing on Twitter right now, where people are posting like where.
Yes, you can see where accounts are based.
But what does that mean, based? Like if someone's traveling, how do you know where it's based?
I want to back up for 1 second. So you see these hashtags, Father's Scam from Father's Plan. Like, dude, that's so low. Why are you roping his dad back into it, using Dagestani culture to sell NFT? That's his culture. It's not like it's cultural appropriation of any kind. That's who he is. Why can't he? That's a part of him. Why can't he sell a piece or a part of him, whether it's from his family or his culture, his region, to promote a product that he's created? Like, why not? Why couldn't, like, would people be saying this if he started selling these papakha, if I'm pronouncing it right, the Khabib papakha or something like that, and wanted to sell it and monetize it? I don't think people would have such a big problem with that. I mean, we're all creating products kind of rooted from our own culture, things that we like, so that's going to blend in. I just don't see a big deal why he's calling this out and saying it's so bad, or even why Ariel and the crew are saying like, it's a little murky area. Like, why? That's his culture. Like, I don't see what if Ariel wanted to sell Ariel brand glasses or something, right? These are the glasses that I wear. I love them so much. And now you can see it says Ariel Helwani on the side. Boom. I'm going to sell them to you guys. Like, is that all of a sudden in a cultural appropriation or something related to his religion or where his family's from? Then that becomes I just don't get it. I don't see it really, except for just finding a reason to hate.
Come up with an exclamation point if it's not.
And so he's implying there that he lives in the UAE?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he spends a lot of time there. I think that was it, right? All this leads perfectly into the rematch, PT.
Yeah, huge. We're all buzzing over here.
That's what I thought.
We're gonna get this one back.
I don't know, guys. I don't know what to make of it all. Everyone buzzing over this, but it is. I mean, listen, when you're in that business of selling these types of things, as we talked about, there's a lot of it on the feed. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I'm looking here, October 24th, multibank_IO. There's another one here for Arena 2X, whatever that is. There's another one here about like, what is this? We're launching Wash Private Real Estate. I mean, it's every single tweet. Keeping your money halal. Another one here. The arena is different with Mifta. Like every single tweet. Go mining booth, Bitcoin. When you're waging.
Paper, boo boo.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of all of this.
There's a reality that Conor McGregor is raising attention to that, like maybe this is being mishandled, right? The brand of Khabib is being mishandled, but he's calling it a scam when in reality, Khabib is introducing products to the marketplace and they can either be purchased or not purchased, right? Like these tokens, these NFTs sold at auction price and were worth whatever value they ended up being, and fans of Khabib presumably bought them. So it's hard to navigate this. Like they may both be right? Khabib may be right to be able to lend his name to endorse this thing and do it. And Conor McGregor may be right to be like, hey, you're mishandling your brand a little bit. Now, you have to obviously consider the messenger when it comes to that. But it's a dicey thing, and it just speaks more to like their personal issues and rivalry. But I do think there are a lot of MMA fans who are looking at this and going like, man, what is Khabib doing?
Here's ultimately what
I don't think it's a dicey thing. I don't think Conor or anybody else has the wherewithal to correctly comment on whether or not he's mishandling his brand. It's his brand. This is part of his culture. What has he done that's so bad here? This is a cultural thing that he used to always wear. Everybody knows him for it. He put the thing on Joe Rogan's head when he won. So who is Conor to comment whether or not he's using his own culture appropriately? But New York Rick, always the voice of reason on the show, says it perfectly. He created a product, he put it in a marketplace, people knew what it was, and they decided to buy it or not. So they knew what they were getting. Voice of reason, New York Rick nailed it on the head. And yes, you have to consider the messenger. Exactly. Conor McGregor's obviously trying to malign Khabib's name at every turn. Why he's still doing this 7 years after they fought, I have no idea. I guess I have an idea, but especially after doing this enlightening treatment is very perplexing. It just, it says what it says. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's continue on with the discussion. I'll chime in a couple more times, then we're going to close out.
What I'd love to know, if I'm a diehard Khabib fan, how do I feel about this? How do I feel about this? How do I feel about the fact that, and I don't know, maybe you love it. Maybe you eat it up. Maybe it's big in that corner of the world. But how do you feel about the guy who comes across as being honorable and above all this stuff and not about the money and about the respect and the history and the lineage and the culture? And it seems like there's a lot of things that he is trying to sell to you. Things that come from a world that at times can be viewed as a scam, right? It's not like, hey, check out my new shoes. We know what shoes are. Hey, check out my new Nikes. We know what that is. Everyone does that. LeBron does that. Michael Jordan does that. But these types of things sometimes get into like a bit of murkiness.
Again, so I think he's conflating because he hasn't done they haven't done the research, I think, on what Ariel doesn't really understand the crypto world, the NFT world. Again, I don't really either, but I did a little bit of research. I feel like I'm much more filled in. But he's saying that just out of ignorance, He's saying that, hey, like I can get behind the shoes. Shoes are a product. Okay, this is a product. It's just a digital product. It's a digital piece of artwork that maybe he's not familiar with. So I don't even think it comes anywhere in the realm of being a scam or feeling weird or whatever. And what I call myself kind of a diehard Khabib fan. I'm a big Khabib fan. I don't have a particular feeling about it one way or the other. I didn't buy it, but if I thought it had interesting value and I wanted to buy it, I would be open to buying it. Like he's trying things, he's doing things. I don't think he's doing anything under false pretenses. So to me, I have really no feeling about it. It changes nothing in the way I view Khabib, and I don't believe it's a scam. Now, could something come out later that would prove me otherwise? Sure. Am I open to that? Absolutely. I'll be objective on this front, of course. And I always try to be. But that being said, yeah, as a pretty darn big Khabib fan, I'd say a diehard Khabib fan actually, doesn't change anything.
And I will just say, it doesn't feel on brand with who Khabib comes across as, right?
I don't even know if it's the products themselves, right? Like the NFTs themselves, as much as the packaging around it, right? When you're referencing Father's plan in an attempt to sell these,
I would not.
That to me feels like almost too personal lines across. Now, again, this is Khabib's brand to manage. If he's been consulted and says, I sign off on this, let's do this, that's, ultimately the buck stops with him and that's his decision to make. And again, I find it, difficult to unpack because, as you said, you want to know how his fans feel about it. I assume that there are the 29,000 people, presumably, who bought this thing and are happy to be fans of his and happy to have it. So
why would you be happy to have this?
I don't know. I can't speak for that. I would not buy it, but I don't like there are clearly people who did. And so to the tune of $4.3 million. So it's hard to unpack, but I also understand from the outside how many people will be going like, this does not jive with the image of Khabib that we had. The reality is sometimes we just have to get over this idea that we like whatever attributes and things we've assigned to these people, athletes in particular, are not always the reality of the situation. Sometimes
It's like, first of all, they're talking about Khabib fans. Or isn't there one of them at least that's a Khabib fan? He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. How is there not one person on there that can be like, I'm a Khabib fan and I don't feel this way or whatever? You know what I mean? And then also, secondly, you see what they're basically saying is like, hey, maybe sometimes we can't just look at Khabib in this pristine light that everybody's placed upon him. And sometimes they're going to do things that go out of the box, but we don't fully know them or whatever. Again, I feel like this whole thing is unfair. He just created a digital product. A lot of other people created these digital products on Telegram. They said Khabib is not the first, so he wanted to do it. And in terms of using his father's plan, that's his father. That's his story. I don't get it. I don't understand how people can comment and critique on him using his own story and his own lineage to make something memorable to share with his fans and to, whatever, make something and sell it. That's his. I don't know. I really don't understand any of this debate here.
sometimes it's
My take is Khabib in particular gets put on a pedestal that people
for sure.
idolize him.
Yep.
And athletes are idolized a lot, but he does get put on a pedestal, especially since I think he left early. He left us wanting more. He was perfect. He was undefeated. He was a champion. His reasons for leaving, as I talked about, felt very honest and sincere, very honorable as well. To want to honor your mother's wishes. Your father passes away tragically. Like everything about that felt very pure. And now these things don't feel pure. And when you, as you said, Rick, when you are teasing announcements that have nothing to do with it, I saw the tease. It had nothing to do with what he was ultimately selling, and you are referencing this symbol, this headdress, your father, the history, the lineage, and then it just ends up being this. Yeah, it does feel a little bit funny, as we kind of joked about a couple of days ago. It feels a little bit funny. Now, obviously, Conor's calling it scam, and there's a very personal rivalry there, and I'm not going to go that far, but it does not jive with the persona that that we have come to sort of link Khabib to, which is honorable, pure, this, that, and the other. It doesn't jive with it. And then when you actually take a look at the social media feed, it's just a lot of it. It's a lot. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Now, of course, being controversial isn't better, but I'm just saying, for this guy, I never thought that you would look at his feed and it would just be like real estate, AI, NFTs, all these things that are, Bitcoin, all these things that are like a little bit polarizing right now or controversial, whatever you want to say. It feels very transactional. It feels like the connection is very transactional, and it doesn't feel like it's as pure as, we were led to believe.
Yeah, like I'm going to stop the take right there. I mean, I kind of disagree with the entire thing that it maligns his name or reputation. Look, I don't follow or look at his posts too much. Now, if he's saying that his posts are a lot more business focused on these particular areas as of late, these could be the projects that he's working on. He might be working on real estate. I don't know. I'm not going to comment one way or the other without doing my due diligence. But I think Ariel should have done the same thing too. I think he should have, if he's going to comment and say that it makes him feel less pure, I think he should have looked into what an actual NFT is or how people are using it, or same thing with whatever crypto things he's talking about. I know crypto's gotten a really bad rep, but how many people do you know that have extra cash that don't own a little bit of crypto? I do. Okay, I'm very much on the safe side of the ones like Ethereum and Bitcoin. I think I own like Cardano or something as well. Somebody advised me to buy it, but like, we know that these things do have value, and some of these currencies that pop up and deflate overnight, yeah, they don't have value and people lose money. But my point is to look at it with this very general view, not really doing any due diligence on the particulars of what he's posting, I think is unfair, because he's not coming out and saying 100% that it is destroying his brand or destroying his image, but he's alluding to it. And I just don't think it's fair without actually looking into the things that he's trying to do. But yeah, if Khabib is using his name and brand and his following to now start different business ventures, what's wrong with that? He started the promotion a long time ago. It looks like it didn't pan out, but he's trying different things. And this is what all fighters do to varying degrees. And as long as he's not misleading the public, say what you will about involving his father or his culture and things like that, but I think that's all fair game because that's his father, his story, his culture. If he wants to do those types of things, I don't think it diminishes his brand. Again, as long as whatever he is selling, he's explaining it clearly and he's not trying to mislead anybody. And I don't believe he is. that's my 2 cents. So there's a summation of the beef. I don't know why Conor is going off on him other than he just can't get over that loss and maybe trying to bait him into a fight, maybe just trying to hurt him any chance he gets because he views him as enemy number one. I don't know what it is, but I got to say it is very disappointing to see after that Ibogaine treatment, which I was hoping was going to bring about a brand new Conor. And maybe in some ways it did bring out a new one, but it looks like in some ways it hasn't. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on the beef. Interesting back and forth. I want to give my 2 cents and contrast it with, to some degree, with what Ariel and the crew talked about today. So there it is. Let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think this is going to lead to? Do you think this is going to be good fuel for the fire in terms of an Ian Gary versus Islam Makhachev fight, another Ireland versus Dagestan showdown? Will that be something interesting that this you think has any relevance to? Do you think this is going to continue, or do you think Conor is going to be advised by his team to now get off social media once again and just focus on training and fighting and being healthy and happy? We shall see. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Oh, and if you guys are diehard Khabib fans, as Ariel was talking about, how do you feel about this? Are you bothered by it, or do you kind of agree with me? No harm, no foul. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.